Hello and welcome to the video where we're looking at putting together this Space Wolf Terminator from the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Now some of you may have seen the Weta Workshop Warhammer 40,000 statues. They did an amazing abandoned spoiler which looked absolutely incredible, but I couldn't quite stretch to buying those myself. I did think about it for quite a while, but I was really into doing some of the smaller scale Space Wolves myself, so I thought, well, maybe I should actually do my own version. So this is intended to be my answer to the kind of Weta Workshop statues, and as you can see it's got a similar scale. This thing's exactly 10 times the size of one of the Warhammer 40,000 miniatures, and so when I was making this I literally had some calipers measuring this out, and every millimetre on the model would translate into 1 centimetre on my model, so it was quite an easy translation to do. So this is primarily made from sheets of acrylic plastic. It's also made from some pre-made plastic spheres, also car body filler and some cast resin pieces. If you've seen my videos before, there's probably a fairly familiar process to this. So I started with the main body first because that's quite blocky and it's largely made up of flat sheets. So this is one of the easier shapes to actually make. So as I've said, what I've done is to measure out the model against one of the plastic miniatures. Now although the sides of the torso are sort of flat shapes, we quickly find ourselves needing to create some spheres and some curved surfaces. So as you can see here for the sort of head shroud, and this is one of the plastic spheres. I've got loads of these, you can buy them off eBay, and just as luck would have it, this sphere fit perfectly inside the torso shape that I've created. So that was just sort of one of a few happy accidents in this project. So that was quite nice as an initial attempt at the sort of head shroud, whatever it's called on the model. So for the chest, what I need to do is to create a curved surface, and this is a technique I use throughout the model, which is to make a framework of plastic in the rough shape of the shape that I need, but then to come in with some filler and actually fill that in to actually create the final piece. I couldn't actually get the filler that I normally use from Halfords, which is a car repair place in the UK. They do this car body filler, it's commonly known as Bondo I think in a lot of places, although in the UK it's called Isopon. But they did have the one of the sort of sister products, which is like a fiberglass filler, so I'm using that on this occasion, but if I could have got some of the body filler I would have been using that instead. But it eventually does the same thing, so what I'm doing is just to fill in the gaps over my framework and sort of slowly build up that shape into the shape I need. Once I've got it roughly right, I can then come in and start sanding that down. So I actually managed to get hold of some of the car body filler that I normally use eventually, so what I'm doing now is coming in with another layer of that over the fiberglass that I originally put down, and I'm just building that shape up. Once that was set, I was able to give it a sand and bring that down to a nice smooth finish. Now what I've done here is to actually make this slightly larger than I needed, and because I need to cut in this curved shape, what I'm doing is rather than just going for it straight away, because obviously if I go too far it's much harder to put stuff back on, so what I'm doing is just sort of slowly cutting bits away and sort of creeping up on the final shape. For the neck section of the Terminator armour, I actually used a piece, cast resin piece I'd made from a project way back when, and what I've done is just put that in the lathe so I can just cut that down to size, and that's going to sit around the neck of the occupant of the armour. So this is just one of many sort of resin shapes I used in the final piece. So as you can see, I've got that placed in the armour there, and as you can imagine there might be a head coming out the centre of that. What I've also done is to make a separate mould for the shoulder. In the armour there's sort of like layers of armour effectively, so there's like an undersuit and then the larger shoulder pads go on over that. So what I've done is to make a mould of a smaller shape which will go inside those shoulder pads. Obviously I need 2 of those, one for each arm, and that's what we've got here. Now for the shoulder pads I decided to make a mould of the piece because I need 2 of these. So what I've done is to take one of my plastic spheres again, and as you can see I've built up more of a plastic frame on that, and what I can do now is come in with more car body filler and start filling that up. Right, so there's my rough shape. As you can see, that's how that's going to sit next to the torso. So that's quite cool, you're sort of beginning to see the shape of the Terminator sort of take form there. So what I can do now is come in and again do some more sanding. This is with an orbital sander. I'm just going to slowly sand that shoulder pad down, and then once I've got my final shape I can make a mould and cast up some copies. Now here's a shot of the mould of those pieces of shoulder armour. So yeah, as you can see, I can obviously cast up many of those if I need to. Don't know if I'll ever come back and make any more Terminators, but I'll hang on to the mould just in case. And as you can see, these casts of my shoulder armour will then fit over those. So yeah, you're sort of getting an idea now of how this is going to look and how that's going to kind of sit together. The shoulder armour is one of the more sort of iconic looks of this type of character, so sort of getting this right was quite important. To be honest with you, I do think I've got the shape of the shoulder pads slightly wrong, but I think it works in context, so it doesn't notice too much. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. I think, as you can see, I've also extended the waist down there with some blocks of wood as well. This thing's going to be very, very heavy, so I've sort of put blocks of wood in there as much as I can, so I can actually put screws through this to hold it all together. And one of the interesting things about a sculpture like this is it's predominantly a hard-edged model, so it's a hard-edged model making, you know, straight lines, curved surfaces and so forth, but there's also a fair amount of sculpture in it as well. That's going to be partially the emblems on the armour, but also obviously he's got a head, so I need to sculpt that up, so I'm just starting doing that in Super Sculpey. And he is going to have a massive beard, so a lot of the face is going to be obscured, but I'm just starting with the face itself before I start covering that in hair. And this is one, because this had to go in the armour and the beard had to go over the armour, I actually had to wait until I'd painted the whole thing before I could put the head in and finish sculpting the beard. So for a long time the head was sort of partially finished, because I couldn't finish it till I'd actually finished the armour itself. Now one of the major pieces of the armour is the shins, because they're just so massive, and they've also got a lot of detail on them as well. So what I've started to do here is to cut up some plastic pipe, which is something I use for all of the limbs on the model. And I'm going to slowly build this up. So what I'm doing is just cutting down this bit of plastic and putting some wood inside to sort of change its proportions, so there's a bit more of a curve to it. What I'm now doing is putting some curved plastic around it. And what I want to do here is actually sort of create a rudimentary mould. So getting this curved surface on the armour, I could, you know, put body filler on it, sand it down, but you know, getting it all smooth and precise like that could be quite tricky. So what I'm going to do is create a curved surface with this plastic, then I'm going to pour some resin into the cavity. Once that's hardened, it will obviously take on the shape of that plastic. Now this sort of worked. It leaked a little bit, so I created a bit of a mess, but I got there in the end. So I created a bit of a mess, but I got there in the end. So this isn't quite looking right, but it is at least in the ballpark of where I want to be. And as you can see, I've sort of drawn in some shapes about where the curves should be near the foot. So what I actually ended up doing was putting some epoxy clay on it to sort of further build it out, and I'm now sort of cutting down some of these shapes to try and get closer to the shape of the armour. As you can see, this one took a lot of sanding with a Dremel. Okay, after a lot of back and forth, here's what I've come up with. So this is my master, and as you can see, I've got some round shapes on the bottom and top. Now on the original model, these actually only appear on one side, so this is a bit of a sort of a concession for ease. What I want to do is make a mould of this piece so I can use it on both left and right legs. But obviously these round shapes only actually appear on the outside of the armour in the original model. So yeah, just a concession to make things a bit easier for myself. All this pipe work on the back is made from 10mm copper pipe, which I've got some there, and I've got some T-junctions as well. Right, so I've got my piece of shin armour on a pole there, so that just allows me to rotate the piece, and I'm just going to cover this thing in silicone, keep rotating it and build up a skin. Once you get a layer on for the detail, you can then come in with a thickened up batch of silicone and like really paste that on to get a bit of thickness to it. Okay, so that's now set, and I've got a cardboard wall around it, and that's just going to allow me to make a fiberglass shell around it to hold it all in place. So yeah, there's me adding some fiberglass to it just to create a shell around the whole thing. Okay, that's it, so I can now come around and do the other side as well. And I'm just using some aluminium tape as a separating line there so they don't stick together. The same process, just add some more fiberglass on the other side. Once that's set, I can then take out my master, and that will be a mould ready to go. there we go, so that's looking pretty decent. So I can now put that back into the jacket and start pouring some resin in. So now what I'm doing for this is actually to put some blocks of wood inside the mould, and that's partially because this is quite a large shape, so it's going to use up quite a lot of resin. So if I can have something in the interior, that's going to mean I'm going to use slightly less resin. But also, because the resin can be a little bit brittle, and there's going to be a lot of weight of this thing pressing down, I want to have something in the inside that I can easily screw into that isn't going to shatter. So just having some blocks of wood inside the piece is just going to make that a little bit easier for me. Okay, there we go, so I'm going to pour some resin in there and just make sure the bit of wood's sort of more or less centred. Okay, that's now set, and that is looking pretty decent, I think. There's a little bit of clean-up needed and a couple of air bubbles and stuff, but what I've sort of decided is really just to turn any air bubbles and things into battle damage, so we can just sort of roll with the punches on this one. So here's some pictures of it just initially pieced together. I actually made a mould of the upper leg as well, which you can just see me doing here. So it was a very simple pour mould, very quick to do, and that's allowed me to run off copies of the upper and lower leg. So what I can now do is actually put this together and actually get the piece standing. So it's quite important just to get an idea of what the final pose is going to be. So I've actually moved this about a bit and sort of given it a slightly more dramatic pose there with the leg sort of slightly higher. Something that became very apparent with this pretty quickly is that there's just no way someone wearing armour like this could really move particularly at all, because if you try and do any sort of dramatic pose, the edges of the armour start clashing into each other. So for example, you really can't bend your leg particularly in this, otherwise the upper and lower pieces of the armour start clashing together. So I've had to cheat quite a lot and sort of carve bits of armour off and have them sort of like meld into each other just so this pose I can get this pose. I don't think it's going to notice too badly in the final piece, but it's just quite interesting to see that if you were to actually try and wear something like this, you just probably couldn't move at all. In keeping with all the other bits of armour I've done, I've made some moulds of the knee pads here as well, so I've just got 2 casts of those that I can put in place. So yeah, you can sort of see how that's coming together. So besides from using car body filler and flat sheets of acrylic for this model, what technique I found myself using increasingly was to actually heat sheets of acrylic and then bend them to shape. Now I was originally doing this with like an electric heat gun, but I actually eventually found that using a blow tool, which was much easier to do, and you actually sort of get a better result from the plastic. I guess maybe it's just hotter or something. So what I'm doing here is just heating this piece of acrylic and then bending it around a pipe to start forming some of the lower arm armour. So if you're familiar with the model, that's some of the lower arm armour forming. What I've also decided to do is give this piece a power fist as well, and I've created that in exactly the same way pretty much, and what I did was to make a wooden form, so I could sort of curve that and sand that down to a nice curve pretty quickly, but I then melted some acrylic and bent it over that piece. So I've got a pretty smooth finish there, so that's looking pretty decent. And the upper arm here is just made from some plastic drain pipe and some additional cast resin pieces. Now something I wanted to do is have some sort of fairly ornate detail on this, but I wasn't quite sure how to do that. I knew I was going to sculpt some of the emblems on the armour, but I needed some smaller details as well, so what I decided to do in the end was take some insignia from some real 40k miniatures and actually use that as sculptural detail on my piece. So what I've done is to make a mould of those, and as you can see I'm just adding these sort of wolf emblems around the armour to give some additional detail. I don't think I filmed myself doing it, but as you can see here there's also some wolf insignia that's appeared on the lower leg and on the chest as well, and these were sculpted in epoxy, which was fairly easy to do. I printed out the actual emblems and then sort of traced them in pencil on the armour, and just came in with some thin layers of epoxy to put that detail in. I've also cast up some wolf skulls as well, and sort of used those throughout the model. And this bit at the top here is actually for my actual Space Wolf miniatures. I bought some 3D printed totems, which a company called Great Eyed Studios do, and they just look really, really cool. So I wanted to sort of replicate something like that in large scale. So we're finally at the point which I was really looking forward to, which is the painting phase. So what I've done here, as you can see, is to give this a bit of a brown base coat. What I'm going to do is do a chipped paintwork on this armour throughout. So what that involves is spraying some chipping medium over the base coat. And what that does is, once it's dried, when you put your top layer of paint on, it stops the two layers of paint sticking together quite as well as they normally do. What you can then do is come in with some water and a paintbrush and start chipping away the top layer of paint, and that will reveal the brown underneath, and that just gives you a nice worn chipped kind of paint job, which always looks really, really cool. But yeah, as you can see, as I rub away with the paintbrush there, you can see the lower layer of paint slowly being removed. So I'm just trying to be a little bit careful. I don't want it too banged up. You know, he's been in wars and stuff, but he's not like completely trashed, so finding that balance is the key here, I think. So I can also now come in and start painting up my face as well. I'm sort of trying to take particular care with this. I'm using Scale 75 paint, so I'm sort of starting with a very dark base coat and then slowly building that up. And also getting some metallics now on the emblems on the chest as well. Now, obviously, he's a Space Wolf, so he needs some snow. He needs to be on a snowy mountaintop. So I'm just putting a base together here with some cast resin skulls and a couple of bits of branch and things like that. And I've got this fake snow, which I'm just going to cover the entire thing with. I always enjoy doing this sort of thing. I think the snow just gives it a really realistic look. Sort of really helps bring a level of believability to the sculpture. So that's it for this one. If you've got this far through the video, and thank you very much for watching. Obviously video production has slowed down somewhat, and that's partly because the algorithm's just not really sending viewers my way anymore. Also because real life is getting a bit busy as well, but also because the projects I'm making are just taking a very long time to make. This one was actually relatively fast by comparison. I think I completed it in about 3 months, but obviously that's still quite a long time for a project, so unfortunately it's just the nature of the beast at the minute. But if you're still watching the channel, then thank you very much for sticking with me. There will be more, I can't quite say when, but I've not gone away entirely. So I think that's it for this one. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.